Welcome to your Daily 5 for Thursday, March 13th, 2025. There have been a number of reports in the last week or so, some from outlets more reputable than others, but enough that there does seem to be something to this, that Apple is delaying some of their more ambitious efforts within their Apple Intelligence product, which of course is their AI deployment, to at least a couple years off, maybe more than a couple of years off. Nobody really has a firm timeline because Apple has not committed to when it's going to roll the totality of Apple Intelligence out. And none of these reports has anybody, of any named, on the record or anything like that. So we're not really sure, but it does line up and enough people are saying it that it does. And based on some of the stuff that Apple has rolled out already and some of the problems they've had, it's probably not all that surprising. This seems somewhat inevitable. And, there's all different theories and reactions to this that are all over the place. But where I've come down on it is I think that Apple is facing really two things that make a delay, on the one hand, something that was going to happen no matter what, but on the other, something that's very easy for them to go ahead and just accept. One side of it is that Apple has staked its company's reputation, the entire corporate mindset of this company in the public's mind is highly tied into the idea of users' data being secure and private. That is really what Apple has hammered in the last, decade or so, maybe more, that they have really emphasized that. And of course, when you start getting into these AI models and the way that they work and the way that they get better over time, you have to, at some point, either have such an amazing database that you can never have to leave your device to use it, which is almost impossible. I don't know that any AI tool will be able to function that way. Or, as Apple has already indicated, you have to be open to allowing some of the other models out there to work with your product for things that it cannot handle. And working with those other products does naturally open up an avenue for user data to go out. Now, no matter how much you anonymize it, all the rest of it, you would have to imagine that there is still going to be the potential for users to give up some of the data security and privacy that they have enjoyed with Apple. And I'm not saying that that's a flawless record with Apple. There has certainly been incidents before. And even if you put a warning saying, okay, be aware that you're asking a question, we have to go outside of the Apple ecosystem and there is a risk, people don't really pay attention to those things, or they'll just say, okay. And then if there's an incident, no matter what warning you've shown, there is some risk of reputational damage to Apple within that. So I think that's the biggest hurdle they have on the one side. But I think what helps them is on the other, there has been a lot of reporting and analysis showing that there is not that much demand from a lot of the public for these tools, that most of the interest and excitement over these things has been with people who are already within the tech sector or already inclined to be interested in these types of tools to begin with, but that most average consumers, the wider public, is either suspicious of these things or just doesn't care. And that's anecdotally how it's been for me. Most of the people I've talked to who are not into technology are either unaware of what these things are or don't care even if they've heard of them. So I think that puts Apple in an interesting position because, again, assuming that I'm correct, and there are other theories, and I could be completely wrong, but if those two different factors are central to why they've delayed the product, that's both. I don't think there's any downside to that for them. I really don't. If anything, it may end up being the most advantageous place to be the one who's being cautious in all this stuff. I mean, there was an Amazon event recently where Amazon essentially just threw all of that to the wind and said, no, we just want to know everything about you. Tell us everything and then we can serve you best. And I don't know that there is the trust in Amazon as a company to really make that successful. We'll certainly see. I have my own theories, but let's wait and see what the rollout of these products and the adoption of this tells us. But I think, again, Apple is in probably one of the best spots because any delay they have, even if it isn't related to data privacy and security, they can enshroud it in that and say, no, we're doing this because we want to make sure your data is as private and secure as possible. So they can use it as a defense, but I also think it is a legitimate concern of theirs. And also, I don't think that a large number of the people using their products honestly want this stuff badly enough that they need to speed ahead, even if they don't have it all figured out. Apple has, by and large, historically wanted to roll out something that was ready to go and worked on day one. They've already had some missteps with Apple Intelligence, and I think that also is making them slow down and take their time. And again, of all the big tech companies, they're probably in the best position to do that and not suffer for it later.